Hi and welcome to my channel. Yesterday I did a reading on the connection between heaven and earth and the space in the middle. And I was looking at some of the synchronicities within the things that are happening on our planet at the moment, the things that are happening in the sky, the things that are happening on the ground. The sky being heaven, obviously earth being the 3D realm that we live in. Now, when I got up this morning, I jumped on YouTube and a video popped up. Not something that I searched for. If you are tapping into your spirituality, if you are on that spiritual journey, it is information that comes to you. And for the most part, it's things that find you rather than you going looking. You can go looking, that's fine, but it's things that find you. So this video popped up and it was about the most recent eruption at Mount Kilauea. Now, Mount Kilauea is one of the Earth's chakras, specific places on the planet, and it is known as the sacral chakra. So right down at the bottom of the spine. But I'm going to read to you. The Hawaiian Volcano Observatory reported the 33rd episode of an ongoing Kilauea volcanic eruption. So we know that the spine has 33 vertebrae. It started at 3:11 a.m. 3 by 11 is 33, and it aligns with information that I was pulling through in a reading that I did yesterday about this connection that we have between heaven and earth and the ascension process that the earth is currently going through. Now, I'm picking up on the connection between what's in the sky at the moment, so the placements of the planets in the sky at the moment, but the placement or the vicinity of one particular object that's in the sky at the moment, and it's the 3I Atlas interstellar comet. Now, Atlas itself is the last vertebrae that connects the body, the spine, our 3D selves, to heaven, to our head. Spiritual, collective spiritual journey that we are all on. The other thing at the moment is that we are in a placement where Pisces, which is spirituality, is sitting for 18 months in the placement of the North Node. So the North Node is where we are heading, our collective awakening. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. A bit about me first. I'm an intuitive tarot reader. I pick up on energy prior to a reading. I will then come and use my tarot and oracle decks to further clarify the messages. All of the decks that I use in my channel are my own designs, are part of the spiritual journey that I have been on, connecting my God-given gifts, my illustrative skills, with my spiritual side. Taking an out-of-the-box type of thinking and letting the spirituality flow. So Pisces is about flow. The South Node currently, because the North Node is in Pisces, but the South Node is in Virgo. Virgo is very practical. It's lists, it's procedures, it's doing things a certain way. So it's letting go of what you can physically see, what makes sense on paper, and allowing the spiritual aspect of what's going on to guide you. So when I did my pre-shuffle, the first card that came out was the Three of Wands, New Horizons, New Beginning. We're in, it's the 20th of September today. We've got the solar eclipse tomorrow on the 21st, brings spiritual enlightenment. But the Three of Wands here is the sun in Aries. It's this kind of fire in the belly. It's Kilauea, which is the sacral chakra, right down in the bottom, moving that energy all the way up, potentially. And you'll have to excuse my belly, I'm fasting. Moving that energy. What's that song? A fire in the belly. Standing in the Hall of Fame. That's what I'm getting. That fire in the belly all the way up. The 33 vertebrae. And Atlas is at the top. And he's in the sky at the moment. And on October 3rd, he's coming in close to Mars, which again is that fire energy. They're actually worried about a potential contact with Mars. And interestingly, we think of Mars as aliens. They descended from the planet Mars. That came through in a reading a couple of weeks ago, an Australian song. They descended from the planet Mars. Now, they don't know what Atlas is because it's doing all these weird and wonderful things. It's currently glowing green. And you can go back and have a look at the reading that I did yesterday, where I was pulling through the symbolism of Atlas itself, holding the weight of the world, the head of the body on its shoulders. Let me just show you an image. That was the image that I was using in that reading. So this is 3D self, mankind, Adam. And this is Eve up behind God in the head. But this is the head, and Atlas, this bit holding up the head. It's this connection that's trying to come through as part of our collective ascension process. So the other cards that I got, as I said, I started with the Three of Wands, which is new beginnings, new horizons. When I split the deck, it was the Three of Wands and the Wheel of Fortune, which is 777, which is good luck. It's revolution, and we are in the Pluto and Aquarius transit at the moment. So it's, I guess, Pluto and Aquarius itself is a change in power from the powers that be to the people, and it's because the people go through a revolution, a spiritual awakening, and realize that they're being controlled. And maybe these things are happening at the moment. A fire in the belly. If you think about a revolution, a fire in the belly, think about the French Revolution. So the Pluto and Aquarius transit happens every 250 years. And along with it comes this big revolutionary energy. Now, Pluto sits in Aquarius, or Pluto sits in each sign for 20 years. So the last time was in the late 1700s, the French Revolution, the American Revolution. Prior to that, it was when that painting was painted in the 1530s. Michelangelo, the Sistine Chapel. Big changes come in a Pluto in Aquarius transit. So this is the Three of Wands, big change. And the Wheel of Fortune, which is what I split it on, is revolutionary change, energy, wheels moving forward. I got the cross. Now, the symbolism of this cross itself, obviously it's Christianity, which was back in the 1500s. If we're looking at that painting, because that's the Sistine Chapel, the Sistine Chapel itself has 33 paintings on the wall. That series of paintings, which has the creation of Adam in it, is 33 paintings long, and Judgment Day is the last one. So this connection, and maybe it's the connection where the people call judgment on the powers that be, but the spine of the cross is literally the vertebrae. Peace on earth and goodwill to men. The dove of peace. Now I also got the Annunciation lily, which is a symbol of immaculate purity. So it's a symbol of when Gabriel came to Mary and told her that she was going to birth something. But when you think about that journey for Mary, she did it on her own. So it's a individual spiritual journey that we have all beyond. Let me start again. It's an individual spiritual journey that we have all been on collectively. It's all like riding the wave, but everybody's kind of almost pushing each other along. And if you're coming to my reading, any reading, it's because there is a piece of a puzzle in here that you need as part of your spiritual awakening, as part of your connecting your 3D self with your spiritual self, that connection between earth and heaven. Now I got the North Node in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is also a very spiritual sign. The archer takes his shot. Get set for a cosmic escapade if your North Node vibes with Sagittarius. Adventure calls as you dive into a world of knowledge and wanderlust. With Jupiter, there's a Wanderlust Festival actually at the moment in Brisbane. With Jupiter as your guide, you're on a thrilling journey, seeking truth, staying optimistic, and catching life's surprises with open arms. So things that spiritually come to you, and you realize then it's the piece of the puzzle that you needed to turn the wheel. It's like the cogs in the wheel, and then it's like this kind of aha epiphany moment. So I'm going to go through some of the other messages that I got. As I said, the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory today reported the 33rd episode of an ongoing Kilauea volcanic eruption. And I just pulled this off the net. Basically, it was an image of all the different vertebrae And there's spiritual meanings. 1, awareness. 2, feeling. 3, discrimination. 4, love. 5, expression. 6, vision. 7, divinity. 8, time. 9, soul. 11, 9. Where's 10? 10, groundedness. 11, transmutation. 12, connection. 13, yin. 14, yang. 15, polarities. 16, similarities. Harmony, freedom, kundalini. That's that energy, that Kilauea energy coming up through. And it's the 33rd. So potentially when that, I think it started erupting back in November last year, the gurglings of this huge collective spiritual awakening. Kundalini, mastery, abundance, clarity, knowledge, creation, manifestation, alignment, peace, wisdom, enjoyment, forgiveness, faith. 32, grace. This year is the year of grace. In Christianity, it's known as the year of grace. And we get to the 33rd, the principle of the 33rd, which is this big Atlas comet that's in the sky at the moment. Atlas being the 33rd vertebrae. This is really lovely. Now, on October 3rd, Atlas, and I think I said it before, comes in close alignment with Mars. But by the end of October, and if it hasn't made any kind of direct hits, by the end of October, it goes into what's called perihelion. Perihelium? Perihelion. I'm not sure if it's an N or an M, but it's where it comes in really, really close to the sun. Its orbit comes in really, really close to the sun. And what normally happens with comets, my understanding is that they come in close to the sun and they literally just get burnt up. But Atlas is half the size of the sun. And given that it's doing all these weird and wonderful things, the prediction is that it may actually cause some increased solar activity on the sun. And then those births actually come towards Earth, and depending on whether the births are coming towards the Earth, let me phrase that again. If those births are Earth facing, then that's when we get the Aurora. Now, as I said before, it's currently glowing green, this kind of big green comet in the sky. The auroras are green as well. The image that I've got in my mind, my son was little, like 20 years ago, those little cars that they're on that racetrack, and you start it at the beginning and you pull it back and it goes, it's almost like from November last year, the spiritual awakening in the collective has been running at speed along like that car on the racetrack until the point where we get this massive spiritual enlightenment. And it may be something like, and this popped up in my feed while I was waiting for my phone to charge before this reading. 1400 years ago in the Quran, Prophet Muhammad predicted the drying up of the Euphrates River, which has basically been happening since about 2020. And within that text in the Quran, he said that they would find artifacts and gold. Now, doesn't necessarily mean actual gold. Gold is information that will provide enlightenment to a collective spiritual awakening is how I would take that. And the Euphrates is actually drying up. So this illumination that's coming through. And even in a reading that I watched the other day, and I just get snippets of bits in readings. As I said, it's like little tiny pieces of information. It was an astrologer who was talking about big players in things that are happening in the world at the moment. And a particular prime minister, because in that reading that I got yesterday, in the channeled messages that were coming through, as one star rises, another one fades, was the channeled message that was coming through. So if you think of a particular country with a prime minister and a flag with a star, as one star rises, another star fades. A Virgo eclipse and the solar eclipse tomorrow is in Virgo. The new moon is in Virgo. And in history, that has symbolized a fall of somebody in power that has Virgo placements, which he does, major sun, moon, Virgo placements. Things coming to light that will connect a new beginning. And that Virgo moon, specifically on an eclipse, is when somebody in power is eclipsed out, and then the moon symbolizes the people, and the people then take power. And you can see that at the moment. The Gen Zers in Nepal taken over the government, but there's symbolism coming through. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I might actually, I'm going to pop these up here. And then I do have some songs that came through. And I am deep in thought. But this number 33 coming through, even, and if you can hear the bashing around in the kitchen, my husband bought he's a bit of a closet chef. He's actually a very, very good cook. But he bought a new wok. Big kind of wok attachment. And so he's planning this big dinner for us, which is great because it means I don't have to cook. But he's in the kitchen chopping everything up, preparing. It's about preparation. But when he came home, so he put the wok together as this big kind of standalone thing, and the flame, actually, you know what? The flame on it. Because I said to him, what's the difference between cooking on the cooktop in the kitchen and cooking on this thing, which is going to sit out on our veranda? Well, the flame on it kind of goes about 4 or 5 feet. Sorry, my dog was barking. The flame on it kind of goes about 4 or 5 feet high, which is this awakening down from the sacral chakra, coming all the way up. Again, it's symbolism. But as he was, of course, he put it together, and then he had to go out to the shop and buy all the things that he needed to cook with, you know. Comes back into the house with all of these bags and is putting stuff in the fridge and freezer. And on the side of the freezer, it just caught my eye. 311 litres is the size of the freezer. 33, because 3 times 11 is 33. I just heard the word meridian line. I don't know where that's come from. Okay, so let me give you some information about this number 33. In Gematria, it's 246 and 360. So 246 means Gentile, or chains, or a band or a girdle. So things that we have kind of been stuck and controlled in. Other words that 246 aligns with is Genesis, Proof, Petra, and Black Cube. So obviously Genesis is the Old Testament, which is Christianity and Judaism and Islam, because they all believe in the Genesis stories. And even we've got 3 Abrahamic faiths, which is that 3 number again. Genesis, Proof, Petra, and Black Cube. Well, Black Cube is Mecca. 360 is the other number. To return or depart, power and strength. And get this, aliens found, and Hodor. When you think about Hodor in, I was going to say the Lord of the Rings, but it's not. When you think about Hodor in Game of Thrones, he was a pivotal character, even though, how do I want to word this? Even though he just kind of seemed for the majority of the series that he was just a side character. He actually played a pivotal role in the awakening of Bran, whatever you want to call him, Bran. But through that traumatic event that happened to him, and it's a connection to the brain, because he effectively got what we were initially thinking was that he had some sort of brain damage or disability or something like that. That's so interesting, right? Genesis, but the genesis of it, the beginning of how that happened to him, was because it was part of his spiritual awakening. It was almost like you have to go back to the beginning. You have to go back to the beginning and the end. This reading's just gotten really interesting, because 360 is to return or to depart. It's to leave and then to come back. Power, strength. Now 360 is aliens, found, and Hodor. When you get that epiphany. Now in Strong's Concordance, the number 33 symbolizes the word go to or to lead. So again, this journey. 33 vertebrae, the spine holds up the body, a single channel of energy. 33 symbolizes mastery, enlightenment, the 33rd degree of initiation. And as I said, Atlas, 33 vertebrae, Atlas is holding up the world. October 3rd, it comes in close alignment with Mars, and then by the 31st of October, it comes into perihelion with the sun. 33 is Jesus, which is the cross. Where did we put it? I must have put it back. 33 is Jesus, which is the cross. I'm going to bring it out because it's important. Here he is. It's important for me because it's a visual as I'm going through, when I'm pulling cards. It's a visual tying back messages that I've previously got. 33, God actually appears. The word God actually appears 33 times in the book of Genesis. Isn't that interesting? I've just put that together then because I was just writing stuff down. So if you look about, if we're looking at Star of David, the Star of David, it's a triangle, which is 3, but it's 2 triangles on top of each other. So it's a 3 and a 3. So God appears 33 times in the creation story in Genesis. The number 33 in Judaism is a day of revelation. 33 angel number is divine guidance. And the 33rd surah chapter in the Quran talks about purity. And when we're talking about chakras, when we're talking about, energy coming through from the base of the spine all the way up to the head, where you get that aha moment. If you've got a blockage, it doesn't go through. And that was the reading yesterday, because all of this started because back at the end of August, my daughter has a neurological condition and she was having some really, really big headaches. And so they were doing some investigation and found increased intracranial pressure. So there was a blockage basically in her brain, in the veins in her brain. And they had to put in this contrast dye in order to see where that blockage was. And I was sitting in the waiting room and I heard, and that contrast dye, and we were joking afterwards because in times like this, you can only joke around. Humor actually takes away a bit of the stress of a situation. And so we were joking that she was glowing green because she'd had this contrast dye put in her. But as I was sitting in the waiting room while she was having the scan, I heard, as one star rises, one star fades. That was where it came from. And that was the previous reading. When I then kind of was like, hang on a minute, Atlas is in the sky, and was kind of piecing everything together. So I wasn't planning on doing a reading this morning, and I put my meditation music on. And oftentimes what happens is I'll kind of get lots of images and then I just fall asleep. But when I woke up, it was 11:03. Again, this 11 times 3, 33. A wake up, a spiritual wake up. Kilauea, a connection between Kilauea and the Atlas comet. That's going to be a spiritual wake up. And maybe it's an alignment that hasn't happened yet. Maybe it's the thing that finally pushes that green dye up through. Some sort of association between those two things. So I put my songs on Random Shuffle, which is a tool that I use to get more information. Set the intention that the songs that were coming through would provide more information as to this collective awakening. So let me show you. This is by 1111. The first song I get was Go. Now, when you think about, when you think about go, green means go. Green is what color the Atlas comet is glowing at the moment. This is literally on, you can see, Random Shuffle. And now we've got 1111 and 111. So synchronicity is coming through. I'm gonna pop that down. Old iPads are heavy. Old iPads are heavy. It's a clearing. A clearing of the heaviness, what's actually been keeping us blocked and stuck. But go, when you look at a traffic light, go is green. That was the first song that came out. Oh, we've gone too far. Let's take that back. And I'm not sure why it's not coming up, but in between those two songs was Sam Smith's Fix You, or Coldplay's Fix You. That's interesting. I'll see if it comes up when I run through the end. Deep, Better Together, Lightning Crashes, Aurora, which is, you know, if Atlas connects with Mars, or if Atlas connects with the sun, that's what we're going to see. Dreams, messages coming through, Dancing in the Dark, A Lonely Journey. I'll put these songs, Star Maker, Perfect Blue Buildings, I'll put these songs in the description. Things that might resonate with you. It could be the name of the song, the image, it could be the name of the band, the time that it comes on. Make It Right, Keep Climbing, Ascension, The Moon and Back, Run Like Hell, This Journey We're On, Chosen Family, Connecting Us. Happy Birthday Helen is somebody's birthday. It's a rebirth, a new beginning, a new you, a new collective, a collective awakening. People Part 2, the things that you've got to leave along the way. Money, cold heart, free, in that search for freedom, at the foot of the cross. Again, this cross symbolism. Times, it's time. Emerald and Stone. Truman Set Sail. I mean, even Truman Set Sail, he was stuck. He was stuck. That's from the movie The Truman Show. He was stuck under the dome of what was being fed to him. Money. That Pink Floyd song, Money. Run Like Hell. The Lark in the Clear, Fire and Rain, Angels. And just all things end, meaning an ending to, and this, you can see here, this is where I was like, because I think that was the 33rd song. And it's this storyline running through the songs. And I was like, And then I got more inquisitive and I was like, I'm just going to keep going. Rewrite the Stars, A New Beginning, Knocking on Heaven's Door. Knocking on Heaven's Door, the connection between earth and heaven. What's that? Under the Dome, the firmament. Interesting. My Girl, December 1963, Homeward Bound, First Light. Now that song was a song that came through in yesterday's reading. And so that's where I stopped, because I was like, right, the beginning has now come to the end. The end is the beginning, that story of Hodor, where you finally realize why all of those things happened to him, because he was part of this bigger storyline of enlightenment. And so then I'm like, right, hang on. And so I literally go back. And I'll pop those songs in there. They may not all have relevance to you, but something might stick out, because we go back to the beginning. The beginning is the end is the beginning, because it's a rebirth. We're in September at the moment. The 999 portal is endings and beginnings. It's rebirth energy. The number 9, Virgo, we are in the constellation of Virgo at the moment. The sun is in Virgo. The sun will be in Virgo. Is it the sun? The sun will be in Virgo tomorrow. But where is the moon tomorrow? I know that they're both of the lunar and the solar eclipse this month actually lined right up with the nodes. And the nodes are a point of destiny, a point of change. And it's interesting because I've just gone, and that song, Fix You, is not in there. But I've written it there. So it's something that's hidden that is going to heal. In between go and deep, something that's hidden that's going to heal. that's going to fix the world, the collective, heal the world. Okay, let's get, how interesting is that? I lost a friend. People you've got to lose along the way. Okay, let me calm myself. What angel is walking with us on this particular, here we go, number 70. That just slid out. I didn't shuffle that out. It literally just slid out. Number 70, Jabamia, spiritual journey. I'm going to get the information on that because I have a feeling. Let me just look it up. This reading is divinely led. Now, number 69 is the angel Rochelle. God sees everything. Rochelle is an angel that finds lost or hidden objects. Now, my name is actually Rachel, which is a derivative of Rochelle. And I am a hunter of the truth, which is why it annoys me that I can't find that Fix You song. But this is part of my spiritual journey. And maybe it's a prompt for you to be a hunter of the truth in your spiritual journey, because this is number 70. This angel aligns with Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Like what the? That's Genesis 1:1. The beginning and the end. And we even had that Friends song in there. And in the middle of that song, it says end. Anyone born under this angel will be distinguished by their genius and will be considered one of the great scholars of philosophy. This angel governs, you're not going to believe this. I haven't had this card come out for a long time. This angel governs natural processes and phenomena of nature and protects those who wish to progress spiritually. Now, what is a phenomena of nature? What will happen if Atlas connects with Mars or Atlas connects with the sun and we have huge solar storms that give us this massive green light, this massive aurora. This is the angel that governs natural processes and phenomena of nature. An aurora borealis is a phenomena of nature. Soul guardian for those born 11 p.m. to 11:20 p.m. The moral guardian for those born the 28th of May, the 8th of August, which is the 8/8 portal. It's we have that song, Karma Chameleon, karmic retribution, karmic evolution. Now, I put up in my community tab yesterday a link to readings from the 888 portal last year, which is basically a back to the future. So interesting. Moral guardian for those born the 28th of May, the 8th of August, the 19th of October, the 30th of December, or the 12th of March. The 19th of October. Physical guardian for those born the 28th of February to the 4th of March. So the 19th of October, the 3rd is when it's near Mars, and 31st is when it comes into the orbit of the sun. Now, this particular angel aligns with a spiritual journey. The spiritual journey in the tarot is the Hermit card. Somebody who goes into the dark. We had that Hosier song. Buried underneath in the dark, and then you get the light, which was the other Hosier song yesterday that I got in the reading and also came through in the random shuffle, which is when I realized I'd gotten back to the beginning, and so I went literally back to the beginning. That Hodor, back to the beginning. This is really cool. Okay, let's get some cards. Do I want to use? Yes, I do. Actually, I want one of those, please. Okay. Hidden things that are done in the dark. What was I just talking about? And fall from grace. As one star rises, another star fades. Impenetrable energy. What I will say to you is that anybody who is on a journey of spiritual enlightenment, anybody is protected, because our souls incarnate to grow, to have growth. Okay, the energy around us at the moment. Two of Swords. That's the moon in Libra. Two options. Swords are, actually, you know what? Sword in Hebrew is the number 7, and it aligns with, so sword and 7 and Zayin, I think. Two swords. Israel turned 77 this year. It's all happening at the moment because you think of that story of Genesis. The beginning of the end. The beginning of the end. But it's been hidden. So in the original drawing of the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, it's a woman who's blinded, spiritually blind. And that was the reason we had to go and get that scan, because intracranial pressure, when it gets too great, pushes on the optic nerves and can cause permanent blindness. Permanent blindness. Now Israel is 77, so we've got two swords. Two truths and a lie. And I'm just talking about things that are happening collectively because it's a great tool to be able to use. Now, the other thing is, and it came through in a reading yesterday, 77, Israel's 77 years old, but 77 in Hebrew is Uz, O-Z. You think about the spiritual journey in the storyline of the Wizard of Uz, of Oz. The Yellow Brick Road is a spiritual journey. And things that are playing out collectively. So last year, now I'd never seen Wicked as a musical, but we went to see Wicked, the movie, last year, and the sequel comes out, Wicked for Good. It comes out at the end of October, early November. I'm just going to check that out because there is significance in it. Whoever did that, that movie was being put together through COVID, I'm pretty sure. So before anything had played out collectively with any of the argy-bargy that's going on at the moment, you know, people kind of doing things, and then when you actually look back in reverse, you go, oh, wow, it's all connected. Let me just check when it comes out. The 21st of November. Okay, so this is the energy around us in the collective at the moment. And look, we've got on the bottom Ace of Wands, which is fire energy. James Taylor, fire and rain, fire energy coming up from right down to the base of the spine. This collective awakening. Okay, what is happening for us individually? So this is what's happening around us. And I'm listening to conversations that are happening in the background. My husband just said, we've got to figure out how to stop the flame from getting too high. When he's putting the cooker, like this new wok thing that he's bought, we've got to figure out, he's talking to my son, we've got to figure out how to stop it getting too high. People trying to suppress this collective awakening. Interesting, so interesting. And I would say to you, if you are on a spiritual journey, sitting in silence is the best thing because you actually get the most information. It's the conversations that are being had around you. And it might not be the full conversation. It's just snippets of it. Snippets of it. And the birds. Birds are communicators. Well, it used to be. It's not X. X marks the cross. Actually, that's interesting too. Because St. Andrew's cross, he died a martyr. He died a martyr. X. He didn't want to be crucified the same way that Jesus had been, and so they turned the cross on the side. Now that is the symbol on the flag in Scotland. Okay. Your energy. This is around you, your energy. If somebody was observing you, that's just fallen on the floor. You're at the end of a cycle, the world. The world is waking up. And we did have that song, Dreamers, which was the World Cup. The world is waking up. And I don't know whether it was just a joke or not, but yesterday in my feed, it popped up, and it may have been, I don't follow soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, but the draw for the 2026 World Cup. And it was America, Russia, Iran, and Israel all in the same draw. And if that's true, like that is I mean, because they're not, it's just potluck. Potluck. The world. An end. That's an ending of a cycle. The world is 21. Okay, the soul. This is your soul. Truth. Truth. Truth is what cuts through. That's the Queen of Swords. Truth is what cuts through. Uranus in Aquarius. Now, Uranus is the planet of earthquakes. Massive, massive, big changes. Even if we're looking at, you know, that Atlas comet, if it goes near Mars, Mars is the tower. It's like bringing everything down. It's like, you know what? I'm not listening to your guff anymore. I'm not listening to the lies that are being spun anymore. I'm actually going to go inside and I'm going to listen internally to myself. And I'm going to find out what's going on. And if I, again, go back to that reading yesterday, the reason that we had been on, or my daughter's been on this big 7-year-long neurological journey, and we'd been seeing a medical team for that long. Great team, great people, great everything. But there was something within both of us that were like, you know what? We actually need to get a second opinion. And in doing that, the new doctor started back at the beginning and ran through all of the tests, and in doing that unearthed this thing that was lying dormant that could have taken her eyesight, which was this hidden intracranial pressure, which we were so focused on everything else, we didn't realize that this kind of hidden dragon was inside. We had to step away, cut out, burn the bridge, and step away from what we knew in order to get the truth. The Queen of Swords, Uranus in Aquarius. Aquarius is for the people. So in that scenario, it was, you know, the commentary from other people. Oh, should you really do that? Are you going to burn a bridge if you do that? Are you going to put somebody's nose out of joint if you do that? You do know that that medical team is very well regarded. And that might all be true. But there was something, and that's it. Again, that song, that Fix You song, lights will guide you home. We needed to go back to the beginning, to go back into the dark, to go back into, to start a new journey with somebody else at the beginning in order for something to be lit up. In between the song Pearl Jam's Go and Deep by Pearl Jam was the song Fix You. We needed to go deep. We needed to go back to the beginning. A reset. And that was, what was that? Genesis, back to the beginning. Proof. Found, Hodor, reset. Go to, lead. Where did I see it? A reset. A return and a depart. Okay. The message from the man upstairs. Ten of Pentacles. Now, this is the... Oh, I can smell what they're cooking. It smells amazing. The Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles is an earthly card. But what we're doing here, what we are collectively doing, is through whatever's happening in the universe at the moment, through whatever's happening in, if you think of Kilauea, that fire, that lava that's coming up from the depths, trying to connect us with heaven. What it does is it takes earthly, Pink Floyd, that Pink Floyd song, earthly things, it throws them out the window and it connects us with heaven. In heaven, the Ten of Pentacles is spiritual enlightenment. The Ten of Pentacles morphs into the Ten of Cups, morphs into the Hierophant, morphs into the High Priestess, morphs into the Hermit card. It's death and rebirth. And actually, what did number 13, yin, number 14, yang. So it's this this balance. 15, polarities. 16, similarities, harmony, freedom, and kundalini. Number 19 is the sun card, which is that fire energy. And number 20 is the judgment card. It's mastery. So beautiful. This reading is so beautiful. Okay, let's have a look. The outcome. We got the Devil card. And Strength on the bottom. It's a release of all toxicity. Anything that doesn't align is gone. And it's because you have gotten spiritual alignment. Okay, let me use that deck. Anything else on this Two of Swords? Things that are hidden around us. Eight of Swords, which is Jupiter and Gemini. Jupiter actually changed, it's in a sign for 12 months. And Jupiter changed into Cancer, which is the Wheel of Fortune, which is revolution. This is being all tied up in the lies. But Jupiter changed into Cancer in June this year, which is movement forward, which is the truth being revealed slowly. The Queen of Cups, because Queen of Cups is intuition, following your intuition. I know what you're telling me, but it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't sit well with me. And so I'm going to go on a bit of a spiritual journey, and I'm going to get some more information. The World. This is you, the journey that you've been on. Seven of Pentacles. Now, that is my Jacob and Rachel card. Jacob wrestled with God at the age of 77. He worked, so a spiritual journey. Even the Stairway to Heaven is when he sat, or he lay down on a rock in the little town of Bethel, I think. He had the dream about the Stairway to Heaven. Angels coming up and down. And if you think about a stairway, it's steps, it's vertebrae. The enlightenment, the world, the connection between heaven and earth. Now, in this scenario also, because when I didn't say that in the beginning, all of the cards that I use on my channel are my own designs because I'm also an illustrator. So in this particular card, when I drew it, look, on the card, we've got 7 and a 7 in the letter Z. The letter Z is the last letter of the alphabet. 26 letters in the alphabet, 2026 next year. 26 letters in the alphabet. But that for me was the symbol of the 7 years, the 77. Obviously, and we got the 77 of Israel this year, but it's a symbol of 7's a divine completion. Even if you're looking at, because we had the black cube came out, they walk around that cube 7 times. But he spent 7 years, he was tricked. He spent 7 years working for her father, her father had promised her in marriage. And then on the day of the wedding, so he worked for the 7 years in order to marry her. And on the day of the wedding, he was tricked. The father veiled her sister. And so he had to work another 7 years. So again, that 7-7 number. But an unveiling of something. A truth that's coming through. And, you know, this work could mean worldwide. Not just an individual journey that you are on, but a collective journey where things that are happening to other people are happening in the same way or in the same format to you. So you are connecting with your soul tribe. Now, we did have that song, Chosen Family. You are now starting to connect with the people who have gone through a similar experience to you. So you're stepping away from people that you thought you were meant to be in a connection with because they no longer align with you anymore because you've had whatever was causing that blockage removed. And actually, that was coming through a couple of months ago. I don't if you're on YouTube a bit or whatever, but it was those calderas, and they basically they get a tire, and I don't know how they get the tire through it. But it's like a drain pipe, and it's full of mud after like big storms and stuff. And they basically pull they've had the plumbing done, pulled through, and then it's all nice and clear. This is a clearing. But I think some things are going to be revealed when the muck is pulled out. A bit like that Euphrates River. Things are being revealed when the water is dispersed. Some truths are being revealed. The the Five of Cups. So in the original drawing of the tarot, this is celebration on this side. You know, what I thought was my Three of Cups, actually, I realize now, because of some trickery that's gone on, that it wasn't. And I actually had my back turned to what was truly my Two of Cups, the soul journey that I was meant to be on, that yin yang energy in terms of our connection with yourself. And now that I've recognized that, I can focus. And this is what you've done, because the world is the end of the cycle. The world is the 21 card in the tarot, and it kicks back to the Fool card, which is a new beginning, a new start, but it's Uranus energy. Uranus, as I said before, is earthquakes, something. And then there may be more before we hit the world, like not before we hit the world, before the world hits Uranus again. So before the world hits the Fool card again, some big, you know, something's being lit up. But because you are now in balance, because you now see any deception for what it is, because you've been on this spiritual journey, your spine, you're not being held up by anybody else. Your thoughts, your feelings, the way you move, the way you act is yours and yours alone. Even if some big, and I've been getting that song. I was distracted, didn't feel it when the earthquake happened. If the world was ending, you'd come over, right? Is that song. I know we've got a lot of songs, but that's been coming through like literally so frequently. But if the world was ending, and not to, you know, but if the world was ending, and it could be, you know, maybe you've lost a job, or you're moving away for something, and you think, God, I'm starting this new beginning. You're in the best possible place, because now what you're building moving forward is based on your truth, not anybody else's. Queen of Swords, which is the soul, your truth. Five of Pentacles. You've set yourself free. And we did have that. Lark in the clear. Run like hell. I lost a friend. Moon and back. Dancing in the dark. Lightning crashes. Now, Lightning Crashes was originally a song by Live, and it was a song about one of the band members. Actually, I think it was the lead singer in the band, and his wife had gone into labor. So this birth, his wife had gone into labor. The baby was born, but the angel opens her eyes, and the angel closes her eyes, but his wife died in labor. And so the song was about an ending, but a beginning, but an ending through tragedy. The Six of Swords, being divinely guided. That's Mercury in Aquarius. Wow, being divinely guided. Temperance angel, balance. That's beautiful. And we did have that, because that's the card of the angel. Angels, Robbie Williams. You are being divinely guided. We are all being divinely guided. This, fall from grace. Hidden things that are dark. This is this. Under. The deception that's sitting underneath the world. And I just heard, because the world is the spine. The world is the 33 vertebrae, but this is the spineless. The spineless that have been sitting in the depths underneath the world, trying to prop everything up. Money-based, money-driven. Wow. I love readings like that. Four of Wands. I just said the Four of Wands. It's the Four of Swords. The Four of Wands is Venus in Aries. The Four Pillars. If you think about this, as the Four of Wands, it's like the marriage card, what we've been tied to, but it's starting to crumble. And it could be what you've been physically tied to, what you've been emotionally, mentally tied to, financially. This Devil. Thoughts, feelings. A person stuck. Four of Swords. Even swords are slashing, right? And four swords is 4 sevens. How interesting is that? The Four of Swords is Jupiter in Libra. I'm going to pull this off my wall and show you. So I kind of take notes, and then things that crop up in readings all the time, I just pop. So back when back when, and if we're using a particular country as an example, back in World War II, during the 7-year, because there's 7 numbers coming through, the 7-year period between 1939 and 1945, which was World War II, a certain ugly-minded individual started a chain of events which have basically pulled through and are still ongoing now in terms of, because in 1948, Israel was made a state and it's 77 years. It's 77 years old this year. So this is obviously a symbol of World War II, but it also symbolizes the number 7, 7777, the 4 royal stars of Persia, Oberon, which is Michael, the watcher of the east, Fomalhaut, the watcher of the south, Antares, the watcher of the west, Uriel is a truth, that's the 2nd to the 4th of December, and Scorpio, that's in Scorpio, war and transformation, 4 directions, 4 pillars, 4 horsemen, destruction and judgment. And it was interesting because, and I'm sorry I go off on these tangents, but stuff comes through for a reason. Those 4, some of the understanding as to the reason why he chose that particular symbol was because he was looking for the Aryan race, the direct connection with what he determined was heaven. Now, Ursa Major and Ursa Minor is where the North Star is, and it's that the shape of those constellations are literally like a 7. This connection to heaven, which is what he was chasing, the connection between heaven and earth. But because he was in devil energy, he created a chain of events, a chain reaction. He created a chain of events that are still playing out to this day. And it's almost like we're coming to the crescendo of the Big Bang. That was even coming through. Because I keep getting this song, not Chris Isaac. A spaceman came traveling, and it's talking about a spaceman coming into the sky 2,000 years ago, as if the Star of Bethlehem was actually an interstellar object that was placed there to guide people. And this is the story in the song, to guide people, and it's part of a spiritual revolution, because obviously then from that point, Christianity for the next 2,000 years became the next religion. It took over, and it's taken over the world. So the song talks about this spaceman come traveling 2,000 years later. So that we're talking about, 2,000 years later is literally right now coming back to guide us into this new phase. And I lost my train of thought. 4 directions, 4 pillars. That was my train of thought. Now he was talking, if I go back to that song, he was talking about a baby being born. And for all wants and purposes, that might actually be happening. But when you're talking about birth, it's a rebirth. It's a spiritual birth. It's a spiritual journey, a spiritual birth that we are all going on collectively. Now, getting back to just the brain fart that I just had, the thought that I just had. There's been many conversations I've had in the past couple of months, and I don't really know much about space. My daughter is obsessed. And she was talking about the theory that we are actually living in a black hole, which is why when they're sending out all these things, then they're looking for, and there's a movie where they send out signals for years and years and years and years and years and years, and they never get anything back. And then all of a sudden, they start hearing this boop, boop, back, and it's somebody trying to connect. Now, I'm going off on a tangent here. But what if we are a bit like Thrones? What if we are actually physically? What if mentally, emotionally, we have been in this black hole, and then this interstellar object is basically somebody. That song has also been coming through, For Forever. I've come to get you. I've come to get you. All we see is light for forever. They've been out there. We belong to a bigger collective, a collective that's connected to heaven. We belong to it, and we got lost in this black hole somewhere. And this interstellar object is coming in to say, hey, we've come to get you. You've been found. That was a song in there, found, lost and found. Okay. I'm going to need a big nap after this reading. Queen of Wands. That's fire energy. The moon in Leo. This particular deck, and some of the beautiful synchronicities, this particular deck I drew from a set of teacups that my grandmother gave me. Now, in that particular teacup, and I'll pull one out, it's called the willow tree pattern. And, you know, it's found everywhere. But I decided to create a set of tarot cards around the story in behind it. And it was two people trapped. She was trapped by her father, who had a particular direction that he wanted her to go down. And she was in love with a guy that worked for her father. But they were forbidden to be together. So two worlds kept apart, heaven and earth kept apart. And they both had to go on their own individual journeys, and they both had to get to the point where they stood on a bridge independently alone, waiting for the other. So this faith, and that was what was coming through in the reading yesterday. That little gap in between Adam and God's hand is faith. That somebody's going to come and get you, that somebody's going to be there, but you've got to walk the journey on your own. And because they had faith, and they had faith in this love and this purity and this relationship that they had, they were willing to walk away from everything that they knew, every lie that they had been spun, every agenda that anybody had placed upon them. And God saw that they had put themselves first and their love first, turned them into a pair of birds so that they could fly away to their freedom. Now, if you go back through and have a look at those songs that came through, there was a lark in the clear. So they were released, because they had made the decision to gain spiritual enlightenment, to walk away from a devil energy. That's really beautiful. The Queen of Wands. Okay, the outcome here. Let's see if this is the devil on the devil. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, so there's two devils. What else we got? Three of Pentacles. Walking away. The devil is also Saturn energy. So learning the lesson that building your legacy based on some devil energy's perception of how they want the world to be is actually not in alignment with who you are as an individual. And once you actually recognize that, you learn the lesson, the world, and you become the lark in the clear. Divinely guided. Again, Six of Swords on the bottom, which is Mercury, which is communication. Divine communication coming through, guiding you out, taking you over the last little bumpy bits. That's so beautiful. Okay, what do I want to get now? I'm really, really worried that... Okay, that's the Trevi Fountain. Throwing the coins in and making a wish. Okay, he's never come out before. Throwing the coins in and making a wish. Tudor. I just heard the house that God built. But look at the arrows on that. They're going down. You've been living in the house that somebody else built or wanted you to live in. And you're like, actually, you know what? I don't like it here anymore. Yeah, something here about the Vatican. That's St. Peter's Square. So right in the middle of there is the big, it's like a big obelisk. And I think it came from Egypt. And St. Peter obviously was one of the disciples. St. Peter. I'm just going to look that up because that's really important. The Vatican, I knew it was, Old St. Peter's Basilica. So this is the square outside, and this is this big obelisk, 326 to 333. Look at that, 333. Wow, 326 to 333 AD. Old St. Peter's Basilica is the original basilica of Peter's in Rome. Is the original basilica. Old St. Peter's Basilica is the original basilica. I'm going to start again. Old St. Peter's Basilica is the original basilica of St. Peter's in Rome, a 5-aisled basilica plan cathedral with an apse. We don't need to know that. It was built on the orders of the Roman Emperor Constantine between 326 and 333 and completed around 30 years later. Okay, so what I'm going to say to you here is it's a big circle, and then down the bottom of it is like, it looks like a keyhole. So a key, and this was actually staring at me prior to the reading. So it's like a key that goes into the keyhole of a spiritual journey that you're on. But the connection at the moment is between, on a global scale, we've got this stronghold between America, which is really, really Christian focused, and Judaism. So a bind, two devils, a bind between two devils. And I'm just talking about things on a global scale. A bind between two devils. Now, that basilica at time in history, 333 AD, was a Pluto in Aquarius transit. As I said before, every 250 years, going back in time. Prior to that was the destruction of the Second Temple and Pompeii. So something that somebody has built, that through this spiritual journey has been, somebody's destroyed something of yours, and if they do it in a way, they're creating karma, because it was the Romans who destroyed the Second Temple, and then it was God that destroyed Pompeii, because that's where the Roman army was. So it's almost like God saying, I've got your back. I've got your back because you're on a spiritual journey. Impenetrable energy. I'm just looking at these cards now. It's like those movies that you see, and you see like the action hero walking out in the last scene of the movie, and the whole place is like literally burning down the house. Another song that was coming through. And the trick here is not to get wrapped up in the karma of it, not to be, your focus needs to be on this spiritual journey. So whatever is going on, if there's literally World War III created outside, you just need to be focused on you and your journey. Okay, I'm gonna get one of those. I'm actually not. I don't want one of those. I'm not feeling that. Oh, that one wants to come. Oh, of course it does. The key. Okay, I'm going to get some Scrabble tiles. Letters and numbers in here. Could be your first, middle, last initial, that of somebody that you're dealing with. I'm going to give it a shake. If you have hearing sensitivity, just turn your volume down. It does make a little bit of noise. I'm going to shake it in 3, 2, 1. Okay, straight away, that's what I see. That's this. Okay, we've got a B and a 3, a Bravo, a V and a 4, an O and a 1, a P and a 3, ooh, a T and a 1. Did you see that? That was the X. This is the end. That's the end. That's St. Andrew's Cross, the beginning and the end. An X and an 8, a D and a 2, but it flipped back over, meaning somebody's trying to stop an ending here. And it's and that's my dog barking. That's somebody trying to, because that's what I was woken up this morning after I'd fallen asleep in meditation. It was my dog that woke me up. But I was just about to say, somebody's trying to stop an ending here. Somebody's trying to keep the wool pulled over your eyes. And they're doing it through smoke and whistles, through illusion. It's kind of magician energy. But you can see it because you're Queen of Cups. You can see what's going on. You're not held and trapped anymore. And you are aware that all they're doing is creating their own karmic hole to be put into a K and a 5, an M and a 3, oh goodness, an E and a 1, a W and a 4, a Y and a 4, an L and a 1, and an A and a 1, LA. I keep getting the Joni Mitchell song California. I know there's obviously big fault lines there. Okay, let's get you 3 final cards. Is that what I want to do? Yes. This deck. 2 of Pentacles. Juggling. Choice. Choice point. Choice point. Turning point. Choice point. Turning point. Jupiter and Capricorn. Queen of Pentacles, which is intuition. What else? And Ace of Cups. Spiritual enlightenment, spiritual awakening. That's where you're headed. Look at that on the bottom, the Fool. A new beginning. You are headed to a new beginning. And what I will say to you is you need not worry about what's going on outside of your house. Your house is you. It's a battening down of the hatches of anything. And actually that was actually, there's a lot of stuff at the moment. And I'd never heard of it until this year, the rapture and the 3 days of darkness and, you know, the Aurora, people having dreams about the 3 days of darkness, Judgment Day, and seeing the Aurora Borealis. So if you think about, you know, Atlas, you know, if there was some big explosion that caused coronal mass ejections that came off the sun and were Earth facing, it has the power, specifically because, you know, any of those comets, and I think there's 7 at the moment that are in play in the sky at the moment, including one called Swan Comet. Now, last weekend on the 13th, for the first time ever in my life, I saw 2 swans, and I'll actually post in the community tab a video of these 2 swans that came swimming to the jetty that I was standing on. Now in Australia, the indigenous swans are black swans, a black swan event, a global market crash, a black swan is, they didn't think that they were real. It was a myth, a fable, something that would never happen. And then they found them in Australia. So I think a previous solar event, maybe last month or the month before, knocked out the power, I think in Canada or somewhere in Europe, was because the energy that was coming off the sun from this big solar storm, essentially knocked out all the satellites and kind of affected the grid. So if we had something big like that, like a big Carrington event, which I think happened back in the 1800s, and it knocked out all the telegraph lines, the communication in the telegraph lines, but there was so much energy in the lines that the ladies in the telegraph stations could actually still communicate, even though the lines were down. It's this divine communication that's coming in. And if you are ready and spiritually grounded and spiritually aware that this is happening as part of your evolution, then you can ride the waves because you are being divinely guided. But it's that full energy, that the Fool card is Uranus. It's something big has got to happen. It's almost like you're getting the heads up. You're getting the heads up. Intuitively, you know. And it's so that you don't go running back into the arms of fear, which is this devil energy. You're getting the heads up so that you can remain calm. That's where I'm going to leave you, actually. It's this point here. This is where the catastrophe is. Right in there. This is 3D. This is almost 5D. This is you, your spiritual self. This is your 3D self. So when this, whatever this is, happens, and it could be something physically that you see. It could be literally, you know, you lose a job or you get made redundant or somewhere. You are in here. And so that you don't race back here, so that you remain calm, you have to sit in this bit in stillness so that you can connect here. That's really beautiful. So all the best on your journey. If this reading resonated with you, please give it a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. All of the decks that I use, as I said, are my own design. So if you're called to any of those, the links are in the description box. I will pop those songs in there, and I'm off to find that Fix You song. All the best, and I'll see you in another reading.